Helldivers, welcome back to a brand new news update. Today we're going to be taking a little look into the future about something that is going on right now with the game. What I've been loving so much about Helldivers recently is just how anything can happen at any point, you know, like being a live service game, so much stuff can change, and sometimes you don't even know when. It's just random, and it's just so much fun. So if you guys do get all the news you need to know from today's video, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. It supports me so much as we're on the road to 250,000 subscribers, and let's get on with today's news. So we're going to be reading through Forbes' new post from Paul. I absolutely love Paul's posts, some of the best ones in the gaming industry. So this is all about the blue beams. If you haven't seen, there was a new tweet from Johan, who is the CEO of, and he said, "Blue beams aren't real. It can't hurt you." So as blue beams rain in Helldivers 2, there's one player on the cyborg homeworld. So it appears we can't go any more than a day or two without some new Helldivers 2 mysteries, which is exactly like I was saying to you guys earlier, so much is happening so soon. As the GM controlled the game keeps dishing out, who's Joel, keeps dishing out new live story content involving the player base as its pawns, intermixed with new additions to the game at the same time. It ain't the normal patching process, that's for sure. In the wake of the successful deployment of the termicide in the Omelette sector, two fresh mysteries have emerged. And someone actually posted a video saying, "I caught video of blue lasers." So number one, blue beams are now visible, occasionally shooting down from the sky. They almost look like stratagem cooldowns, but for so far as we know, they are not that. And players are wondering if this is some sort of robot ploy or something from a new enemy faction on the verge of arriving. As I said, naturally, the CEO Johan has come out to say both that they aren't real and they can't hurt you, which is obviously, you know, they are there. So don't think that you're going crazy if you see these blue beams and Johan's saying they're not real, but apparently they can't hurt you. So I don't know what they've got linked to the game or what they're going to be here for. That's something that obviously we'll find out more, but let's carry on reading a little bit more, and then yeah, we'll see. So for a brief period of time, there was a single player that was on Cyberstan, an already liberated planet in the Valdis sector. Even if something is under Super Earth control, you just can't go there. So everyone is wondering who is there and why, with many speculating it was the GM Joel plotting something. If this was another planet, you maybe could dismiss it just as a bug. So let's read through this. But this is Cyberstan, the homeworld of the cyborg nation, which has an interesting history, and here's some lore. So Cyberstan is the cyborg's nation homeworld, is a barren, snow-covered wasteland on the galactic fringe. Whenever it is conquered by Super Earth, the cyborgs are then democratized and by force and coerced into the voting booths by the threat of losing their civil rights. Super Earth's Army Tactical Command invariably stations troops on the planet for a period of 5 years to keep peace and run government positions. After which period, the cyborg's culture is supposed to have transitioned into a fully democratic one by Super Earth standards. Meanwhile, the Super Earth Construction Company, a government contractor, takes over the massive forges and industrial complexes of Cyberstan. Eventually, another bombing starts this whole cycle anew. So pretty much, yeah, it sounds like Cyberstan is a planet where there is cyborgs, and it looks like maybe something could be going on with this. So blue beams, someone hanging out on Cyberstan. This sounds like a setup for the next major order, but perhaps some sort of rebellion on the planet. As far as we know, the automatons are creations of descendants of the cyborgs, and I wonder if we may be getting fully new cyborg units if Cyberstan does end up being a plot point. So we will probably know know at the reset time next week. Until then, watch the skies for blue beams and watch Cyberstan for more Joel sightings or whoever it is. So there's an update. Interestingly, the Cyberstan question came up literally 3 years ago when the game was being posted coding teasers online. There was a binary sequence that was deciphered by the fans that came out too. We are the collective from Cyberstan. Assert our independence from Super Earth. We have the right to defend our home from the brainwashed Helldivers. Our children, the automaton, will not have to suffer as we have under the oppression of the Super Earth. So this aligns with the idea that the remaining cyborgs are enslaved on Cyberstan, and I wonder if the new campaign will mean that their automaton children will invade the planet to try and free them. Then, of course, you run into the question whether or not Helldivers repel this, which could have two very different outcomes. And given the loss at the Creek, it stands to reason that we could be looking at some freed cyborgs sometime soon. Meanwhile, the blue beams could be related to that, but also the arrival of the Illuminate, a third alien faction that has not yet arrived in Helldivers 2, but absolutely will do at some point. And I do wonder if Arrowhead will try to strike when the iron is hottest here and get the Illuminate out there before there's more player drop-off, but we'll see. So something that, that's linking to this is, so this is really cool, talking about new content, new big updates and stuff. But something I wanted to talk on from that post was, the fact of people saying about Helldivers player drop-off. Now, I think this is been something that's been around a lot in 2024 because there's been many smaller games that haven't been made by AAA studios that have obviously blown up, Palworld being one of them, and then obviously Helldivers being the other. But something that seems to be talked about so much within these sort of posts and about new updates is about player drop-off. Now, I just kind of get sick of seeing, things about this player drop-off because, I literally, unless it's literally to a point where the game just doesn't have players anymore, I completely understand that. But the thing is, it's like Helldivers right now. So I'm literally sitting on the player count, and obviously Counter-Strike absolutely smashing it with 1.3 million players right now. Dota 2 with 724,000. PUBG smashing it recently with 663,000. Apex Legends with 400,000, and then in fifth is Helldivers with 269,000 and a peak today of 362,000. Now, the reason, like, some people are saying that the game has dropped off from 450,000 to 360,000, and it's not really been that. You have to remember that when a game hits a peak, its highest peak, you're not going to have every single player that comes back, and you're going to lose about a quarter of the player base. It happens with every single game. I know Palworld has dropped, it's right now sitting in 9th with 136,000 players. They did have 2.1 million at one point. But again, you have to remember Palworld and Helldivers are very, very different games. Helldivers is a live service game that people will, play online, and, there's so much going on. And Palworld is one of those games that when you get to level 50, you're kind of left waiting for the next content. So that's why there's such a player drop-off, but still absolutely smashing the numbers. But with Helldivers, I would not worry at all about a player drop-off. I mean, they're still sitting in 5th, biggest Steam games. And you have to remember, as soon as there's brand new, major orders, and when, they release more content, the player base is just going to keep growing. And it's still, one of the most popular games at the moment. And I really don't want to hear anything about a player drop-off until, until there actually is a proper player drop-off. Like, if they, which I just don't see happening. It's going to be one of those games, because it's live service, that is going to be constantly being updated, and is kind of going to, be, it may have lost 100k players, but then when there's a new sort of thing going on, they'll go back up to 400k players. It's just, it always happens in gaming, and as soon as someone sees, like, a game lose 100k players, they're like, oh, this is the end of Helldivers, or, this is like, there's no future, or is this, it's just, people fluctuate between what games they play, and, so there's no talk about that. The game has got such a positive future, and I see it sitting, as long as it keeps getting updated, which they do have plans for, I see it sitting in the top, 5 for the next couple of years. So that's my personal opinion, especially if they keep keeping the game fresh and adding new content, we could definitely see that. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, and look forward to seeing what's coming next.